It's Too Many Men on the Mic, presented by Vantage Credit Union, a NetFront LLC production. Now here's Coach Drew and Coach Jared.
That was an abrupt stop. Sorry about that. It's supposed to fade out. It's supposed to fade out.
It is the August 13th episode of Too Many Men on the Mic. It's middle of August, which means hockey season is literally right around the corner. I'm catching myself checking things like, what's my subscription service going to be for watching the Blues this year? I'm obviously in the St. Louis market, but, FanDuel went out of business, and they had like 6 other NHL clubs besides the Blues. So is it going to roll over? Do I need to go get some new subscription? How many steps is it going to take to work on all the TVs in my house? These are critical things that I need to know before the puck drops on the real games here. So just some of the laundry list of things going through my head.
I mean, if you liked another team besides the Blues, or if you moved, you could watch the Blues. But it seems like in this town...
Something tells me there's a Detroit reference coming.
You know what? I'm not talking about that team. We're not talking about Detroit. We're not even gonna I've had an emotional roller coaster of a weekend. I dropped my young son off at school for the first time, and the last thing I need right now is to get my blood pressure up. Talking about the hockey team that resides in the city of Detroit. So
have you already started looking at his room and saying how much musical equipment you could fit in there now that he's gone?
Well, the nice thing is he's in the palatial finished basement that's got the carpeting and the acoustic type ceiling. So it's like
it's perfect for it.
It's a recording studio in the making. Absolutely.
There you go. And you don't have to tell him. You can just come home and be happy for you.
I mean, that's the thing, he can just come home. I'm not gonna put his bed out in the garage. Although his brother might try to take his room before he gets home. There's that whole thing as well. So you've gone through it. You dropped your daughter off. I think 4th time's a charm for her, right? She's
she's on her way. This is the last mile marker. And I got my older of the 2 boys who's going back on Wednesday, and then it'll just be back to mom and me and a 14-year-old in the house.
Absolutely. It's I sometimes feel like we have another 14-year-old because we have this producer who once again is on assignment.
On assignment? This guy's got quite a few on assignments.
I tell you what, he's a very talented kid. We would call him in the biz. He's a talented kid. He's a baseball guy, right? So he's like a 5-tool baseball guy.
So what you're saying is it's the throes of baseball season, and that comes to calling.
Well, all I know is that there's this old saying in coaching, every sport, the best ability is availability. So now we're just messing with you, Grant, because we know you're listening, and we also know that you're going to be out next Thursday at the 20th at Fallon's Irish Bar and Grill to listen to Too Many Men on the Mic live acoustic version.
That'll be a coin flip.
Well, we'll Grant will be back into the fold before you know it. But you mentioned your daughter heading out west. Over the hills and far away. I was also going over the hills and far away, but the opposite direction. But out to Colorado. And that's kind of a great segue for our guest this week. As you all know at home, in the listening audience, we've built a relationship over the past almost, 13 months now with USA Hockey. And wait, I got something I want to make sure he knows who he's talking to here.
Oh my gosh. Is that your level 5 badge?
It's a level 5 lanyard. No, but we're you just
I know, I did do that. I did do that with the camera.
You did the AI, so now we've got extreme close up like Wayne's World. I kid for those of you who know us at home. But had a chance to meet our next guest briefly in Columbus, and just so excited that he was able to come join us here today. We're going to talk about some things that are pretty important as we head into the hockey season, mainly when we're talking about parents and organizations. But this
a good follow-on from last week.
Yeah, this gentleman resides out in the Mountain Time Zone. I believe he's in Colorado Springs. 25 years of experience with USA Hockey. Nice. Spent some time at the NTDP, or as we like to call it, the program. Has been a part of, I believe he's been on the bench for 8 or 9 international competitions. Currently, he is serving as the USA Hockey Senior Director of Player and Coach Development. Ladies and gentlemen out there in the Too Many Men listening audience, Ken Martell. Ken, welcome. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Nice to see you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today. We find you out in Colorado Springs, correct?
Yeah. Home office.
Is it? How are the wildfires out there?
Not too bad at the moment, although a little hazy out. We're getting some residual smoke. There's nothing that is super close to us, but obviously, depending on the day, we get quite a bit of air pollution, and we've had a few bad days, but usually there are no bad days in Colorado. Let's put it that way.
Exactly. Lots of sunshine.
Well, for a while, the conspiracy theory was like Canada was trying to get us back for winning the gold medal. And, I had to cancel a trip to Michigan because the air quality was so bad because of the wildfires coming down from Canada. So hopefully things, the wind blows north instead of across Colorado Springs. And you guys have good quality of air out there and have a little bit of fun as you wind down the summer. So how have you been? And tell us a little bit about some of the things that you've been working on with USA Hockey. It's been a lot of change, a lot of things going on.
Yeah, obviously busy. It's interesting. People think that the hockey season should be our busiest time, but I think for our staff, there really is no off season anymore. We have our player development camps and a lot of things going on in the summer months that take our time. We do a lot of coaching programs. We just wrapped up our national goaltending symposium in Boston this past weekend. Steve Thompson on our staff put that on, had a couple hundred coaches from around the United States, and I think 7 different countries were in attendance. So a big event there. And these type of things just in the off season, because we sort of have access to people, keep our staff really kind of hopping. But then once the season starts, it's like everybody else. We're off to the ice rink and away we go. As you said, it's coming quick. And so, there's not a lot of time to do. We always have new things going on. We're working on a few different projects. We have one with an NHL partner on visual perception for our athletes. And there's some research papers that are starting to come out on that, which is, I think, really interesting for our coaches. We're looking at biological maturity in our athletes. Just the kids that are in the average club around the country. What does it look like for them, that kid that hits their adolescent growth spurt early versus maybe late? What are the advantages, disadvantages? What might some things that USA Hockey can do to kind of help both ends of the spectrum? So some interesting projects that are going on, and it's sort of job security. There's always something that needs to be done. So we're busy.
Well, Ken, I love that we're talking about parents. This is a great segue from the show last week. For those that didn't listen to the show or didn't have an opportunity to hear the show last week, we had some urban legends, and it was around conspiracy theories that parents have around placement of their kids, or their kids not being placed correctly, or the fixes in, and here's why. So I feel like this is a great topic this week. Just continue that dialogue. And now we're talking about parents again, but not conspiracy theories, but just good parent behavior, a good primer right before the season gets started, right?
Yeah, for sure.
When we talk about these, Drew and I are both coaches, and it invariably, having also served on hockey boards and coached for, decades plus here, the questions always come up. Parents tend to be, like straddling that line between advocacy and agency, as I like to call it. And I used to always tell, we have the parent meetings. I love talking to parents, and we can talk all day long, but the minute I start talking to an agent, the conversation kind of stops. And so we'd like to give our audience some things from USA Hockey about constructive parent behavior, ways to stay supportive, and understanding beyond just the etiquette, how do we support our kids, keeping them in the game? Because as they tend to grow, we've seen studies, we've seen it firsthand that sometimes parents almost push too hard and ends up pushing their kids out of the game. And so, before we, start hitting this line by line, give us a little bit of overview of some of your thoughts and some of the positions that USA Hockey takes on providing support to parents and families. It's a tough sport. There's just no two ways around it.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a long journey, to get where some people say they want to go to if you want to play at the highest level of sport, whatever, but 99% of our kids don't ever reach that. Sport itself can provide a lot of really good things for us. I know I have a passion for the sport because I had a great childhood experience with it. So when we look at how kids move through this, it's really, there's this triad of the parent, the coach, and the player. And if they're all not in sync, then things tend to maybe not go so good. It's really a partnership between all three, especially as they move through sport in general, even at the highest level. Now, the responsibilities of the parents and what they can do to support, certainly when your child is young. I mean, you're the one that's doing a lot of the you are driving them to the ice rink, right? You're the driver. You're the one that probably selected or helped them select what sport to play. You're deeply involved in a lot of things. And then it's over time, how do you turn that responsibility for development over to the child? How do you sort of back off from the one doing everything and being involved in everything to letting the kid sort of figure some things out along the way? And there's a nice balance over the course of their career, from a lot of involvement on one end when they're starting, to really nothing other than just being around to support as best you can towards the later stages of this. So, it's finding a balance, and where do you fit, and how do you help them along the way? And the most important thing there is just being there to support them without trying to do too much coaching and too much overdoing it. It's you have a coach for that, and you want to make sure that they're getting clear signals. You talked about communication, that you're willing to talk to any parent, but when the agent gets there, right? So I think that's a good way of looking at it. It's you'll be the parent, right?
Well, and that's what I wanted to dig into when you're talking about that triangle and that partnership. There are limits on that partnership, right? So, and what I mean specifically is it should not be expected of a parent that your child's coach is going to be texting you or calling you on an everyday basis, right?
I am more amazed than ever before at the expectation that parents seem to have from volunteer coaches. They almost believe, for some reason, they think this is the full-time job of this individual. Every waking hour, as a parent, maybe every waking hour you are concerned with your child, but our coaches have other lives, they have their own families, their own things too. So, the expectation for some reason now, we seem to demand a lot unreasonably of the volunteer coach.
So,
So
do you think the coach should just? I'm exaggerating here a little bit, but
yeah,
coach just not give out his phone number and just say, hey, if you want to talk to me, come meet me at practice, maybe before practice or maybe after practice, especially if they're doing some practice planning.
yeah, of course.
Walking through the drills, maybe 5-10 minutes before. Meet me after practice. I'm happy to talk then, but I'm not going to give out my phone number because I am a volunteer and I do have a life and other things that are going on.
Yeah, no, I would always give my phone number to any youth parent that I'm coaching with. I mean, we need a good line of communication. As a matter of fact, from the coach's perspective, I think your best strategy is to err on over communicating, simply because for whatever reason, if left in a vacuum, parents and others will assume all kinds of crazy things. You mentioned conspiracy theories and the wackiness that people will assume that the coach or people are thinking about or treat. It can be beyond belief. Yeah, right. It's all these, most 99% of the coaches that are out there, they're doing this because they want to help. They want to do good things for the kid, and they have the child's best interest at heart. I think that's the common ground from everybody, right? Is we all want the same thing. We all want something good for the kid. But from a coaching perspective, I would say over communicate with the parents so that, very little is left to the imagination. And I think it might be just human nature that we fill in the blanks with, I don't know, the crazy sometimes.
It's funny you mention that because we always tend, and we're probably looking at this from the coach's angle more so than the parents, even though we're both hockey parents or both hockey coaches. That's a great line of thought to maybe pick up on. It's almost like an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
There you go.
There's
an ism.
That's early. That's early. That's two. That is two. Yeah. I didn't get the gun. Two for that. That's a twofer. As a coach, and we talk about over communication, what are some good tactics? And this is just three coaches here talking who've had, probably, well, if you between the two of you guys, probably 40 years experience, and me and my but how what are some tactics that you've used or that you've seen other good coaches use to kind of facilitate that over communication? And certainly it varies from age. Talk a little bit about that. I'd love to pick that up and run that down.
Yeah, and I think especially the younger the kids, the more communication is probably necessary to the parents and the family. As kids get older, you want them to start to learn how to communicate for themselves, right? So having a child at 13, maybe 12 or so, they go to the coach and say, hey, I have a concern, and be able to communicate and start to interact with adults and those things when they're real young. I mean, it's certainly a lot harder for the child, and which is fine. But as kids grow and mature, you want to have a little bit of a transition. Like I said, it's this, and it's gradual. Always include the parents if they want to sit in on anything. Have no problem with that. That's absolutely fine. They're minors, so parents should have some involvement in things that are going on. But from a parent perspective, I think it's important that if you have questions, do reach out, but be respectful of the coach's time. I was told my kid, hey, if you have a problem with the coach, go talk to him. It's, you have to build a relationship with your coach. For you to be successful as a player, the better your relationship with the coach is, the more you're going to understand how he's working with you, how she's working with you, then, great, go do that. If you don't have the the answer you want, or you couldn't communicate something and you feel that we need to help you out a little bit, yeah, we'll do that. But, you give it a go first, because I wanted my kids to, learn to, again, communicate with adults and others. And, that's just part of growing up and learning how to be a good teammate, be a good kid in the program, et cetera. So, but yeah, it's not an all or nothing. There's this scale that shifts as we go.
Yeah.
Ken, what have you seen, and have you had enough time and data to be able to look back? We're on the backside of the first year of U9 AAA hockey.
Okay.
And so, and keep in mind that our audience is the 90% of the players out there, right? So most of our parents, coaches, kids that are listening out there are A, B, and C level players. But what I'm wondering is, now that AAA has gone down to a lower level, what kind of impact that has had on the parents? And specifically what I mean is, are you seeing parents at the 6U level saying things like, well, should I register my kid for 12 camps this summer? Because if I do that, then by the time they get to U9, they'll have a chance at being a AAA player. What have you seen on the backside of that?
Well, I come at this from a lot of different directions. First, it should be known that USA Hockey does not recognize AAA hockey at 10 and under. All hockey 10 and under our umbrella is recreational.
Yeah, right. That's
how it's registered.
Yep.
Now, a local affiliate or somebody else, because of the absurdity out there, okay, they put labels on teams, which has some real negative effects on our players and player pool and all that. And I'm not, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yes, it is.
Right?
Yes, it is.
But I understand, like, the labels create pressure and these things. So I think from a communication side of things, from a coaching, I come at this from the coach side of things. I've been a coach all my life. This is what my background is. This is what I do. I'm in charge of player development and coach development. I don't spend a lot of time on parent development. It's not, the parent's not a member of our organization. They are through their kid, but
there's something to be said about it, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. So no, for sure. Like, again, parents we want good. Look, a good parent is an ally.
Yes.
Right. I mean, an informed parent is an ally. Right? Because they can then communicate to others, when they're in the know and things start to get wacky, they're armed with the right information to be able, that's not quite right. So, from a coaching communication perspective, for example, I put all our practice plans down on paper, every practice plan I do. And I want parents to know that I spend a lot of time thinking about what we're going to do with the kids. So I send out email with our practice plan to everyone in the team, everyone in the group, because I want them to know what we're working on so that they can feel like they're informed, but also it's a subtle hint back to them that, no, I didn't just show up at the ice rink, whip out something out of my, and just guess. Like, there's an actual plan. We're organized, and it's a good way, I think, for coaches to get rewarded for the work that you're already doing. Right? Any coach is putting everything down on paper. They are taking time beforehand to, I know we're all busy as coaches, but you said you were going to coach, so I'm not driving and writing something down on the napkin before I go on the ice. Right? So parents, right, they'll get a sense for what it is that we're doing, and then I can communicate through that practice plan, the things that I think we need to focus on, et cetera. So, these are subtle ways to communicate. And then there's the, we can do something on the weekends or after games or whatever. I have not done this, but I know a coach that would have a quote press conference after each game.
That's awesome.
A little press conference. He goes, hey, look, this is how I thought we did. This is what I thought was wrong. This is what, and good or bad, I'm going to spend a few minutes and I'll answer a couple questions, and I think the humor of it, the connectedness, the constant communication never really lets any angst build up with the families and parents. As a coach, when you go weeks at a time without having some type of communication, again, parents will assume something. They'll put it,
So I can go full Rick bonus though at the end of the season.
Exactly.
I love.
I think that's the way, but that was somebody else's thought on how to do it. What I thought was pretty interesting,
Well, the practice plans is right is a sharing practice plans, especially at the younger age, because oftentimes you'll get parents who maybe aren't experienced with hockey and they would like to know what they're seeing out there if they're watching practice. But Ken, we got to take a quick break and pay a quick bill. We want to dive into a couple of things that you said and touch on some more of these topics, especially like we talk about coaching in the car and things of that nature. So if you can hang on, if you don't mind, we might have some trivia too. Somebody's going to go double or nothing because the mountains that he has to skate at practice on Friday. But we'll be back with Too Many Men on the Mic with Ken Martell in just a moment.
Too Many Men on the Mic is presented by Vantage Credit Union. This local credit union has something great for hockey players and parents. Vantage is giving away a $100 pure hockey gift card every month. Whether you're eyeing a new stick, replacing your skates, or stocking up on gear, you don't want to miss this. Entering is easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen or visit vcu.com/hockey to learn more about the drawing and complete the quick entry form. It only takes a minute. While you're there, learn about Vantage Credit Union, from everyday banking and competitive loan rates to special perks and financial guidance. Vantage is here to help you reach your financial goals. They're committed to putting your members first. Scan the QR code, enter the drawing, and see why the St. Louis community has loved Vantage for almost 70 years. Thanks again to Vantage Credit Union for supporting Too Many Men on the Mic. Membership eligibility required. Now, let's get back to the show.
We're back with Too Many Men on the Mic with Ken Martell of USA Hockey. And Ken, before we went to our break, we were talking about a lot of different tactics coaches can use to help foster good communication. We talk about practice planning, obviously sharing your cell phone and being able to explain what's going on. In fact, I think I love the idea of doing a presser. Maybe not me, but maybe you're much more used to me. Let's transition to, you mentioned it earlier, especially at the younger age, the parents are the drivers, both figuratively and literally. And in that situation, when they're driving home from a game, oftentimes we found many of these parents, their only exposure to hockey has been watching the NHL team on TV, maybe not in St. Louis, but somewhere, wherever it is, watching the NHL team. And we call it car coaching. They're going to talk about the game. Rather than, when you want to ask a question about a game, what are some good ways to go about doing that so that it doesn't sound like you're being critical either of the player or of the coach, especially after a tough one. But what are some things that parents, phrases that parents should focus on using, especially right after a game, that maybe they're not always using because they're only human?
Yeah, I think for the most part, the kids know when they played well, when they didn't play well. They don't need us to say anything. It's always, hey, did you have fun today? And I hope you had fun. I really enjoyed watching you. Give them some positive reinforcement around just the experience of the rink. There's going to be good games. There's going to be bad games. You can ask them about what they thought they liked about today's game. What did you do? What did you think you did well? And they might go right into something negative, but you just tell them, like, no, I'm sure there were things you did well. Reinforce those things. Let them initiate the negatives, right? I think as a parent, stay away from being critical. Stay away from, that's the coach's job. That's others. And, for those of us that have gone through it and had kids, I think most kids get to a point where they really don't want to hear from mom and dad. They just don't. They don't want to hear the negative. And so the best thing you can do is be as positive and supportive and let them, if they want to talk about it, they can, but really be careful on giving them, overstepping into that critique side of things, because that's a way to shut your kid down, close off the conversation. And that's not what you want in the car. You get precious time with your child driving to and from the rink. It may be the only time where they actually talk to you, right? I mean, kids running around, like, they're busy, they're families. So I think don't make that experience a dreaded ride. Do your best to make it something that's positive. And you know what? The kids will kind of turn around, and your mom and dad, once they know, they'll probably open up about some of the other things, and maybe you can have a deeper discussion. But be careful on going negative or talking about the negative side of things. I think let them initiate a little bit. It is sort of cautionary.
Ken, sometimes I've seen parents will be talking in the warm-up room. Might be during practice with other parents on their team, or let's say you're splitting ice. This is where I've seen it happen frequently. Splitting ice, there's two teams out there. And then you might have a parent that doesn't know the game as well as certainly we do as coaches. But I've seen this happen before. I'm out here watching practice, and why doesn't my practice look like the practice going on the other side?
Should have went 5.
So I'm sure you've encountered stories like this. And so, what advice do you have to these parents that you can share?
Yeah. Well, first off, every single team is different. Every group of individuals is different. They're all at a different place. So by nature of our players being different than everybody else, again, they're all at different points. So we have different things to work on than another group. So I don't know what's going on at the other end of the ice. I'm not really maybe paying attention, because they're working on what that coach thinks they need to work on. We're working on what we've shown you, what we've talked about. This is what we need. And, I think another good coaching tactic is when, how do you include parents? How do you get them more involved? One of my coworkers here still has a daughter that my kids are old, grown, gone, married, have come through the system, et cetera. But I have a work colleague that is right in the thick of it still with his daughter. And what he does is he gives every parent a job. And that way they feel more included. They're actually involved in maybe what it is we're doing. Like, for example, hey, I need someone to track practice for me. And so here's how many shots our kids are getting here. So they're going to take some statistical things around practice. I have somebody, he has somebody videotape. He has someone assigned to do off-ice training for him. Finds the right people, gives them a job, gets them involved. Hey, we need this equipment every day in practice. So your job is to make sure that equipment that's at the rink is available on the bench when we need it. So again, the more you start involving everybody, the more they're aware of why you're doing what you're doing on the rink. I think there's less of these questions about why it's different than what's at the other end.
Well, and I think too, the ability or inability of your coach at 12U is not going to prevent or advance your kid to the NHL. I mean, so if it's a bit of perspective.
Actually, it's funny, across all sports, the United States Olympic Committee and Paralympic Committee have done, they do it after every Olympics. They've done it multiple times through the history of their existence. And they give a survey to the athletes, and the athletes themselves will tell you that really didn't learn much about the sport from my youth coaches. That really wasn't, but what it was how they made me feel. Right? That's our job as coaches when we're coaching kids. It's how do they make that child feel? Do they love coming to the rink? That's the primary driver.
Yep.
A lot of them will say, like, I played at a fair level. I was never an NHL player, but got to play Division I college. I like to look back. I had a coach, maybe the best coach I ever had, got on the ice in his tennis shoes. Right?
I mean,
phenomenal coach.
They want to have conversations with you. They want you to. They want to feel like you care.
He's a guy that on our team we had 5 full scholarship Division I players at a time out of Southern California. And it wasn't because he went around and collected a bunch of. This was just kids at our local club that turned out like that. I can't remember him teaching me much of anything about ice hockey other than how he made me feel. Told me to pass harder all the time. It wasn't. It's the experience that the youth coach creates. So don't worry about it. Is your coach from a parent perspective? Can he help your child fall in love with the game? Because
I love that.
Well, unless the kid actually loves it, they will never put the time and energy in that they need to be successful. We can't do it for them. And as a coach, I can't make a player learn. Learning is done by the learner, not to the learner. This is just the way learning is.
We're clipping that. We're clipping that. Right. That's excellent.
No, seriously,
it's true.
You can't make anyone learn that doesn't want to learn something. Right? So but can we create the right environment where they are motivated to learn, that they love it? The more they love it, the more they're going to focus, the more they're going to concentrate, all those type of things, And from a parent's perspective, that's what we want for kids when they come to sport. You want a good experience where the kid, if they are the ones that drive it, if they have that motivation and passion, then it'll take care of itself later on.
I love so much of that. And it's funny how, as a coach and even as a parent, you're probably a great hockey parent once your kids are no longer playing hockey and they're 18, 19, 20 years old, because you've kind of gone through it. And so, another aspect to all of this, Ken, is just in looking at this from some parents' perspectives, it's an extremely expensive sport.
Oh, yeah.
And many of these parents, many parents are looking at this as like anywhere else I pay this type of money, there is a level of accountability or there's a return on investment, probably the wrong phrase to use, but how much is that pressure and anxiety of the cost of our sport you think add to, some of the parental behavior that can be counterproductive? And again, this is just us talking at this point.
No, that pressure is real. No question about it. And, I wish there was some way from USA Hockey's perspective that we could, make our sport less expensive. I mean, we have in certain ways, like with our ADM, we've shown how you can put multiple teams on the ice. Like when I grew up, you had, 11 11, 8-year-olds practicing on a full sheet, and
Full sheet, yeah.
like that cost a lot of money.
60-foot passes, man. 60-foot passes.
Well, and it's not that productive. So,
No.
What a waste of parents, resources and all those things. So we've shown how we can maybe reduce some costs with it, but we're an expensive sport, and I don't know how to get around the cost of it, other than looking at this. What is it that we bring our kids to sport for? It's in hopes that they learn teamwork, they learn, the value of hard work. They learn to be, socially better with their peers. They learn all these things that hopefully are going to help them down the road. The NHL did a really interesting study on membership a few years back, not that long ago, 2018, 2019. And they asked, one of the questions was, what are the values that you thought playing ice hockey gave you? And they look back, and it's all the things that you would hope that you want for your child. So, most kids, like I said, aren't getting to that level but when people look at the sport and they say, well, what did you get out of it? They say, well, this is what I got. Not the money at the other end, but I really got out these things. I thought it did this for me as a kid. So, that's got to be the return on the investment. And we have to look at it like that. If they happen to get to a level where they get paid to play or are getting compensated in some way to play, gravy, wonderful. But are they a better human? Are they a better citizen? Are they a better, like when I go coach kids, I look at it as I'm trying to work with my future neighbors. Like these are the people that have come up. Like I now have kids that, I run into in the grocery store, and they're bringing their own kids back to the sport and all that, but they're good neighbors. They're good people in our community. Like that's the goal, right? So the return on the investment, we have to change how we look at it. But I am with you. The pressure's real. We understand it. And I feel for the parents. If they're not seeing what they think they should be getting out of it,
Well, and right tied in with that, Ken, is I've seen some parents that do comparisons. Why does our team only have this many sheets this season as opposed to another team that has 4 more sheets than us? Why isn't there equality amongst the sheets across the teams? Both of us being in youth hockey organizations, we know how difficult it is to practice plan and put ice time for
100%.
40, 50 plus teams out there. So there's a lot of hints that goes into that. But
when your team took off for a tournament on a weekend, you gave it, you missed the ice is it's incredibly difficult. Like again, volunteer boards, like people are doing the best they can with what they have. And one season you might get shorted 4 sheets. The next season you probably get your 4 sheets back. Like what goes around comes around.
This whole parent development angle that you have, Ken, I almost feel like
I think we should have a host of USA Hockey Symposium for parents.
There should be a USA parent development
Well, let's put it this way.
program.
If you can get the parents to show up, USA Hockey will put it on free of charge.
PDM, parental development model.
And you get like a badge or some stripes each year you go along. You attain a level.
We start with how to work the scoreboard.
Oh, there
you go.
See,
again,
that's
have a job.
Start with a scoreboard. Nobody wants to do that.
No, I mean be involved. Like the more you can, I think, from the club, the team, the more you can involve the parents in different things, that the better. It helps the communication. It creates better family. Have one parent that's in charge of putting out, collecting pictures of the kids and sharing them. Like whatever it is, there's something that everybody can contribute. And now it's all we're in this together. it's not easy. A lot of the things we talk about, we use this all the time with our ADM program. Simple, not easy. It is difficult. Running and being very good at youth sport is a full-time job with mostly volunteer part-time people. It really is.
Yeah.
So, the more we can include everybody, the better. And yeah.
Well, Ken, I think you've got a cool drill for us to draw up here. If you can give us another minute or so, we're going to.
Yeah, how do we do this?
Well, we're going to pay a quick bill, and then we'll bring you back
Okay.
on, and we'll do a
I gotta do that.
virtual. And then we might even have a little trivia. I still have some leftover.
You're really excited.
I still have some leftover from last week. So, Too Many Men on the Mic here with Ken Martell. We'll be right back to do a quick drill draw after these messages from our sponsor.
St. Louis hockey families and business leaders, if you need custom gear that stands out and stands for something, it's time to meet 5B Designs. Founded by Shannon Brahini, a proud St. Louis mom and entrepreneur, 5B Designs is a woman-owned small business that brings purpose to custom apparel. Whether you're suiting up your youth or high school hockey team or leveling up your company's branded swag, 5B delivers top-notch quality with a personal touch. Need team stores? Not a problem. Corporate polos or event giveaways? They've got you covered. 5B makes it easy with fast turnaround, flexible service, and designs your players or employees will love to wear. Check them out at stores.inksoft.com/5B Designs. That's the word 5. And if you are watching on our YouTube feed, go ahead and scan the QR code on the top right-hand corner of the screen and see what great gear and great service looks like. Real quick before we jump back in, if you're enjoying Too Many Men on the Mic, hit like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. It's a quick click for you, but it helps us grow the show and keep bringing you great hockey conversations. You can also follow us on Instagram by scanning the QR code on your screen. And be sure to download, follow, and rate the podcast on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeartMusic, or wherever you get your podcasts. Or you can go directly to our website, www.tooManyMenOnTheMic.com. That's the number 2. Those small things from you help us keep delivering new guests, downloadable coaching content, and more from the rink. All right, back to the show.
An awesome, well, I'm going to call it awesome, drill and game that Ken is going to help us draw up here, and then we'll post this to our website for coaches, players, and parents alike to download. So, Ken, we've got the whiteboard is yours. Walk us through what we're doing here.
All right. This is a cross-ice game designed to give our players some reps at collecting the puck off the wall. If you go back and you analyze our sport, the puck ends up on the wall or coming around the wall an awful lot in our sport. And so that kind of puck retrieval, puck collection, the ability to do that off the wall and then still perceive where pressure's coming from, be able to collect the puck and make a play is a big time skill for us across all levels. And so this is something that's going to build in an automatic where you're going to get reps at this repeatedly. Now it'll evolve into a 3-on-2 situation where you can play out and there's other things to focus on, but we're going to give kids over time lots of reps at collecting the puck off the wall. So we would start in an end zone, setting the nets up cross ice.
All right.
Inside the circle. Yep. There you go. That's fine. One on the other side. We would have a coach at the blue line by the boards on both sides.
All right, coach.
Okay, coach at
Right
the
here?
blue line. Yeah, right there. And one on the other side. Those coaches will have pucks, and they're the ones that are going to start the rep each time on a whistle. So we would start where this is a 3 against 2 in the zone. Well, let's put one team at the blue line on one side, the other team at the blue line on the other side. So, yep, there you go, player. And then the other team, same thing right on the other side. Perfect. Okay, so let's start with 3 blues inside the zone, say somewhere in the, yep, there you go. You can put them out anywhere. And by the dot there. Okay.
You have goalies in the net?
Yeah, they do. Goalies are in the nets for sure. I got to have goalies. Come on.
I mean,
it's no fun without goalies.
No fun without, nobody likes to shoot or tutor.
No one likes, yeah, of course. Goalies.
Good.
All right. So, and then 2 reds as sort of defenders. Okay. So this is going to start. We would give maybe we'll let the blue team have it to begin with a puck, or we could start where the coach. Let's just start it with a rim. That coach on the blue side is going to send that puck. Yep. My bad here.
Oh, no worries.
Yep. It's going to send that puck around the boards. Okay. And yeah, it's going to rim it around. And one of those 2 blue players or 3 blue players has to collect the puck.
All right.
And then they can attack 3 against 2. But he's going to do that under pressure from the Reds. Okay. So collect a rim under pressure and then try and make a play. So you're going to play this until the red team steals the puck. As soon as they steal the puck, coach is going to blow it dead, or that puck dead. The coach on the red team side will rim a new puck in. The 2 red players now are going to go on to offense. Okay. They get joined by somebody on their team. The 3 offensive blues exit the zone.
All right.
And 2 new. Yep, 2 new blues enter as defensive players. They try and put pressure on the rim, right?
Gotcha. So
now what happens is every time there's a change of possession, coach will start giving the 2 players that were on defense a new puck so that they're on offense. And this goes back and forth. We're going to get reps at collecting the rim. You're going to do that hopefully against the opponent that's going to apply pressure. And then the coaches, they will put the puck in different areas at different speeds so that there's different challenge points, different situations for a player to collect that, where the opponent might be coming from different angles. Sometimes that rim could be picked up in the far corner. It could be, in the near corner. It could be along the boards, depending on where the coach spots it and how hard they rim the puck. Does this make sense?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I love this.
So this is a great game that you could start at 10U with, and right through to your 18 AAA team. Obviously, the bigger boys are going to put girls are going to put a little more pressure on quicker, but that's part of it. It's can I collect a puck, read where the pressure is, have supporting players move into a position to gain possession and go make a play.
Yeah, and if you're on red in this scenario we're looking at right now, and let's say you miss that rim and it goes all the way around and blue picks it up,
then you're out.
Then you're out.
Then you're out.
Yeah.
Right?
I love the idea of this because, you incorporate. I would play this where I would just let the kids play to start off. Figure it out, get the puck off the wall, and then through this, as those kids come off the ice, maybe if you've got another coach out there who's kind of watching, or if you're lucky to have a parent or somebody tracking the practice for you, then you can kind of identify areas where you can teach technique. Shoulder checking. How are you attacking the puck? What pursuit angle are you taking? When you're trying to apply that pressure. I mean, there's so many things you can get out of this, and the fact that you're constantly. I mean, I'm sure change of possession or a goal, you're constantly. The kids are constant. There's constant motion too, which creates chaos or mayhem. And I think we got a name for this drill. If Ken doesn't have a name for it, I think I've got one for him.
Sounds like
it. Go ahead. You can.
Let you name it. I'm calling it Martell's Mayhem.
That was what you said.
Sure. There you go. Not my drill. It's one of our staff does this, but these are, as a coach, when you look back and you analyze the normal game, right? What are the things that our players have to repeatedly do a lot of? So puck retrieval at the highest end of our sport, it's the second most occurring event in the hockey game, right? And then you back up to how often is the puck along the wall, or you have to collect the puck. It's happening a lot with our players. So you start to try and figure out ways to inherently just build in more realistic repetitions for your players over time, to retrieve pucks, collect them along the wall, where by the end of a season, if you're doing things where you're starting at as many drills as possible with a loose puck retrieval, right? Yep. Starting drills with something that's coming around the boards where they have to collect it, right? We might give it to an offensive team, but somebody's coming. They have to do something under pressure. We don't want to just, here, you get to start with a puck all nice and comfortable.
Yep.
We want them to get reps at the things that they're going to have to do in the hockey game. And so we can just build in little ways to do this and maximize, their opportunities to learn.
He's putting the vegetables in the ice cream.
Putting the vegetables in the ice cream.
Putting the vegetables in the ice cream there, man.
No, but then to your point, if they don't collect it right, or they weren't aware of where the pressure was, it's like, well, what happened there? What went wrong? What could you do different? Well, did you know where the pressure was? Well, what are you going to need to do the next time? Okay, well, I'm going to watch you on the next rep. Make sure you look, right? And the kids will have the answers and they can work through things, but this is coaching, right?
Well, we're going to run it on Friday practice, Martell's Mayhem. I love it.
There you go.
Ken, well done on the drill draw. I know that there was maybe a little anxiety with that blank sheet, but you did fantastic.
Well,
and thanks for hopping on with us.
I can't draw myself.
Well, Ken had a trivia question for us, and so we'd be remiss, even though we don't have our erstwhile if we don't have our erstwhile trivia, Grant the Killer.
Okay.
We'd love to hear the trivia question, and this is going to become a staple of this show. Is giving the trivia questions. I promise.
All right.
Promise we did not. I didn't, at least. I can't speak for him, but I didn't research. Although the one question we already.
Fun in that.
No fun, and I've got one too.
So there's two. I put down two.
Yep. One
I think is, probably pretty easy. The other one maybe not as much. What would you like? The softball or the?
I want the hard one. We want the hard one.
Let's do the hard one first.
Okay. The harder one would be, can you name the goalie tandem that holds the record for the longest shutout streak in Olympic history? The shutout streak is actually 331 minutes and 23 seconds.
So I'll buy it. I mean, what this makes me think about, not knowing all of the Olympics that are out there, certainly not the ones before 1972 when I was born. I do remember last summer that there was a girls' women's program that had a really long run of not giving up goals. So that's going to be my answer: is the women's Olympic women's USA hockey team from last summer?
Can I get a guess? Can I get a guess?
You can have another guess.
Okay, so I would that would have been. So I started thinking about goalies, and the first goalie that came to mind for USA Hockey was always Jim Craig, but he did it on. I don't think Janikowski got a minute in the net.
Yeah.
So Ryan Miller was stood on his head the year Sidney Crosby scored that stupid goal from the corner. It should not have gone in.
That's stupid.
And so I'm trying to think of his partner. I think was Quick. So I thought, did Ryan Miller start every game except for the one against Latvia and Quick shut him out? So was it Ryan Miller and Jonathan Quick?
No, I think the first answer was closer.
Ooh.
It was our women's Olympic team. It was in Milan, and it was Aaron Frankel and Gwyneth Phillips.
Oh, that's
so they hold the Olympic record for the longest.
That's awesome.
In Olympic history, again, 331 minutes.
Jeez, I mean, could you imagine 331 minutes?
Yeah, I just remember that last summer.
Scoreless.
I mean, that's
I kept
that's over 5 games, by the way. That's
still
math.
going.
Yeah. It's over 5 games.
Yeah,
Matt's undefeated.
Pretty good.
All right, Coach, we got one for you.
Okay.
All right. Keeping with the theme of USA Hockey.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we asked this question. I don't think I asked this question last week. So, 2004 and 2007, those are the only 2 years where both first and second overall picks were both Russian and both American. Can you name the 2 Americans picked, number 1 and number 2 overall, in 2007?
Number 1 overall in
2007, first overall, second overall draft picks in the NHL. It's the only time it's ever happened where both were Americans.
Boy, 2007. That's got to be right around. It's got to be right around James Van Riemsdyk. Is Reamer in that?
Reamer's in it. Reamer is the number 2. Who's the number 1 overall?
Number 1 overall. Oh boy, who did go number 1 that year? I'm trying to think of 89s. Those would have been 89s.
Yeah.
You're killing me here.
you know this person.
Oh, I'm sure I do. This is my sometimers is kicking in right now. Oh my gosh. Not Eric Johnson. He's a year younger. Pat Kane is in that time frame. Kaner's in 88, but was a late. My word. Yeah, but Patty Kane. Yeah.
Pat Kane, James Van Riemsdyk, one.
There we go. Man.
7.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of
the answer to his softball question too. Patty.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And then the Russian guys in 2004 were these dudes called Ovechkin and Malkin.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I remember when both those guys were. One's in 85, one's in 86.
Well, Ken, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a long time coming. We're very appreciative of you giving us your time, and more importantly, appreciative of everything USA Hockey's meant to our show and to everybody around this country who plays our sport. Looking forward to seeing you again here soon and have you back on the show. Yeah. And there's a lot of great things happening, and we can't thank you enough.
Thanks.
Oh, and look, you guys, we appreciate you communicating, good stuff. I mean, you have a show that parents, coaches, people should listen to. There's there's some great information, a little bit of reality, a lot of fun around the sport. It's kind of what hockey is supposed to be, right? So I think you guys do a really good job of representing what the youth hockey experience should be for people. So
thanks, Ken.
Thanks for the kind words.
Appreciate
Ken.
the kind words. Good luck the rest of the season, and
thanks.
We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
I did the stupid thing with the I did it again. Oops, I did it again. If you're watching us on YouTube, every time you make a hand gesture on this,
That's right.
with this AI-driven technology,
Yeah.
you know, every conversation we have with the USA Hockey guys and gals I take at least 3 or 4 things away.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just so
Parent
great
development. Love it.
I'm advocating for that. I think we try to do that at our organizational level.
Yep.
But I think that there's something to it, and the communication factor. I love how he leaned. Ken is like leaning into communicating, and that does. I think it
Can give every parent a job.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea too.
Yeah, for sure, and I think it takes a lot of the pressure out of the whole.
The funny thing about giving every parent a job, and I'm sure you've seen this before, you'll get the parents that'll be like, "Oh no,
yeah, I didn't sign up.
I didn't sign up to do that."
Well, big thanks to Ken and USA Hockey, Bob Mancini, and the entire team. We're very grateful as always to be able to partner with everybody and have great conversations. I think we've got we get back on the ice here Friday. More tryouts coming for Ladue, and I know right now
you
youth
got
hockey.
a gig right around the corner.
A gig on Thursday.
August the 20th.
August the
If
20th.
you're in town,
Yep.
or if you live here in town in St. Louis, 2 Minute Men on the Mic.
Yep.
The acoustic duo version will be out picking and grinning back at Fallon's,
Yes.
and that'll be a lot of fun. It's always fun being back over there.
Absolutely love those folks. And
one quick ad that I want to put out on Fallon's that Dan shared with me. They're having a little bit of a tap tour from our friends at Modern Brewery.
Oh,
So come on out and listen to some music, have some great food, try a couple Modern Brewery beers while you're there. They're having a little tap off.
well, we're excited to once again be partnered with Dan and the crew at Fallon's. We've got some other gigs coming up too. Always, you can go to our website, 2minutemanonthemic.com. That's the number 2. Click acoustic bookings if you're looking for great music and great conversation. We typically bring a crowd, maybe some rowdy hockey parents.
You also can find lots of drills like the one that Ken just went through on our website as well. So if you're a coach out there, especially with season quickly approaching, you're getting your practice plans together. We've said it before many times. We're thieves. We'll steal a great practice plan idea every single time. And so we've done, I think, a lot to really put a nice collection of drills out there. So take a look when you're on the website. If you're not looking for the gig or interested in having Too Many Men on the Mic play your show or play your place, please take a look at the drills. Check them out.
Well, I think that's a wrap on a great show. We've actually got to go rehearse for that gig, so we're going to let everybody go. Have a great rest of the week. We'll talk to you next week. He shoots, he scores. It's 37.